On today's episode of Bottom Tables, we recap the Chicago calling history of draft, talk about what we do for fun and how we improve outside of the game, what we're thankful for, and make fun of each other.
From the curmudgeonous Christmas caverns of Maryland, today Bottom Tables is back in the holiday spirit with Bill and Jenna after a little bit of a break due to some busy things going on in our lives. Busy but fun.
I mean, why lie? The break is actually because my OBS crashed when we recorded our Thanksgiving episode. And it turns out trying to dub yourself like an old-timey Hong Kong action film is real hard.
Yeah. I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'll let you air the dirt.
It's okay. I tried my best. Maybe I'll put a clip of it up as a short or something, but it's not good. Anyway, Jenna, how have you been?
So what have you been up to?
Jinx.
What
I've been up to is...
I'll let you go first.
I just got back from Chicago for calling Chicago and the history of draft, which we're going to talk about. I want to get into that and make a main thing. Before that, a week before, I was in Philly for PAX U, doing my duty as a Flesh and Blood judge to teach a Flesh and Blood learn to play. It was amazingly fun, and then I opened all the
product
that I got on stream. So I got streaming again. I used the camera that Ethan sold me to get a top-down view on my desk. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun sitting there and talking to friends while opening just a freaking banger of a case. So, how about you?
Hells yeah. Yeah, some of the stuff that you posted in the DMV Discord was pretty nice. You got a Marvel Acilio?
I got a Marvel Adult Acilio. I got a Face Purgatory. I also got a Marvel Sigil of Forethought. We had, fellings and plows and Gone Enough Flashes and current funnels and unsheathed.
That's pretty fucking banger.
Yeah, just all the greatest hits of Rosetta.
My pull luck since Tampa has been kind of mediocre. I've been reliant on people in draft pulling like 2 super good cards and having to pass one.
That's fine.
That's how I got my first Gone in a Flash, and then I immediately turned it and $20 into a foil surgical extraction.
Good move, especially with Hunted coming up.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know me. I like my foils. I like my assassin. I like my illusionist. Illusionist is through and through my sweet, sweet love. But I've gotten to play a little bit of Fab over the last few weeks as well. I've been mainly going to armories. Haven't been super pushed to play this skirmish season. It has less of a pull for me at this season because it's the end of the year. It's Blitz and Living Legend, both fun formats, but it's more of not as many people are going to go from the crew, and it's also with the last one's okay, I'm playing for trying to get a Cold Foil Blaze. That's pretty dope. That's a pretty cool card. Top 4s were Channel Mount Heroics. The extended arts were very playable. And this time I looked at it and I was like, Fry is a card.
Right. Extended Fry? Neat, I guess.
Yeah. Bountiful Harvest is a card. I probably will pick up the Terra and Cold Foil Hammer at some point, but it's at most they're pushing 55, 60 for the pair. So it's nothing crazy. I do think the playmat for this season is pretty cool. It's not the craziest we've ever had. I think it's is that all you got? I think it is that.
It's that all you got.
My brain doesn't work that well.
Matt, it looks great, but with going to 2 conventions back to back, and then wanting to spend time with my family outside of that, I just had no time for skirmish, so I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. I kind of did a big life journey change that a lot of people have already found out about that has kept my time very scarce the last 2 weeks. And that has been that I now have kittens.
You're proud mama.
2 adorable kittens. I am a proud crazy cat mom. Wasted way too much money on my fur babies this month, but it's well worth it. One of them is a Russian blue that's 10 months old, and the other's a little blind guy who's 4 months old, and he purrs like a motherfucking machine. I get home from work, sit down on the couch, because he likes the couch a lot, and then he's just forever. And then she's just like, "Yeah, mom, I'm gonna sit under the table on like the chair. If you come near me, I'll run away." And it's like, okay, personal boundaries. I understand. I'll give you space.
I can't wait to come and meet them.
Oh my gosh, they're gonna go crazy once they get used to
My
being out and about.
my friend that I stayed with in Chicago, Nathan, who I met through Mara's Discord, and then we met in person for the first time in Osaka while I was getting my tattoo. Which is just like, for anyone who's like newer to Fab or doesn't understand how weird play the game, see the world can be. You can make friends everywhere. So I stayed with him, and he has a lovely cat Mouse that slept next to my head the whole weekend and would just like randomly lick me. Like,
that's like the best thing, is just the free cat
right?
cuddles.
I was happy.
Like my little guy Braille is such a sweetheart, but like the first 3 nights that I had him, first night was fine. I was just nervous because I'd never had like pets of my own for a while. And then the second night, he figured out how to get in my bed. So that night and the third night, about 4 and 5 in the morning, respectively, I would wake up to him bashing his head into my eye socket and purring. Just because he's like, "I want to be close to you, Mommy." And I'm like, "Mommy wants sleep. Mommy wants sweet, sweet sleep."
Well,
but it sounds like you had a really good time at Chicago. Like, all the stories that I heard from folks about Chicago specifically were like pretty good. I enjoyed the stream as well. I know there were a lot of Starvo mirrors, but like even just getting to see some other decks do some crazy stuff like Stubby Hammers, and I really wanted the Acilio to pop off, because like Acilio could do some nutty things, but like Zen is just very impressive.
I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what happened the entire time, because History of Draft. I made the joke when we were going up there that it was just 9 armories and a trench coat. Because
I mean, that's a good way to look at it.
If you're not familiar, it was an all-weekend program, right? Minmax put this on, and it was 9 draftable sets starting at 10 a.m. Last draft starts at 6 p.m. And you are just into pods, and it initially sold out, and then LSS was gracious enough to expand it.
That's dope.
And like, bottom line up front, it is the single most fun weekend I've had playing Fab. I played with players of all, stripes and locations, and up and down the pro and amateur and good, and no one was bad. Everyone was nice. And we were all just kind of having a good time and vibing. We laughed, we joked. One of my pods got asked to keep it down.
Okay, I'm not surprised by that, Bill.
Weird.
Because I know that if I were at a pod with you, both of us would get in trouble.
Well, I like to chat during drafts that are non-professional, because it's fun.
I had someone trying to chat with me at Nationals when they're like, "Y'all need to shut the fuck up," and I was like, "This is my first Nationals. I'm not getting DQ'd off of talking. You can compliment my tattoo, but no."
That scared the shit out of me. The first time I did it in Tampa, I was just like, I'm just gonna sit and listen to the calls. But this was.
Yeah, you just clench your butt cheeks and listen and pray you picked well.
But this was casual. It was casual for everyone.
So how did the tips and tricks we talked about help? How'd you feel with the sets?
Okay, so more bottom line up front. So what I wanted to talk about this episode is basically what I came into History of Draft with. Was my goal was to get better at draft, because we don't draft often enough at every store down here. Sometimes it's just not a night that draws people. If the set's been out too long, people don't want cards anymore, whatever. And then also, life gets in the way. So I wanted 27 games and 9 drafts worth of experience. And my goal was to not force shit. Okay?
Yeah, I think that's a good attitude coming into it.
I wanted to learn and practice reading my seat better. So even though our tips were in a couple of situations to just force, and I got wonderful advice from close friends to just force certain things in certain sets.
Absolutely. And in certain sets, like, you can expect the force thing and then counterpick. So like in Monarch, a lot of people will force Prism, and you just go, let's rock. I'm going to play all the poppers in the world on my giant brute lady. And then late game is when I'm going to use my Blood Debt stuff and just destroy you.
My Monarch strategy is just to play the Shadow Heroes anyway, because I like them and can play them well, and I don't play the light ones well. So it works out. I can always force one of the two shadows. But
So let's break it down then.
all right.
In that case, obviously you came in with the mindset of like, I want to come in with figuring things out. I want to do the best I can at this. I want to have a good time nevertheless. Right. Because the fact that Peter and Minmax were able to set up something so cool, and just hearing about it from like the inner ramblings between folks, I'm glad that Minmax is very consistent in setting up these really cool things. And same with the Realm. Like the Realm and Minmax seem to be the premier people in regards to setting up, hey, let's do something for the community.
Yeah, I think
let's do something that people can have fun.
I think because of what went on, I don't know if there will ever be another thing like this History of Draft, but I do hope there are more fun events like this. And I hope more people take the opportunity to kind of take a break from the hyper-competitive tournament scene and get in.
Yep.
And when I say make new friends, it sounds cheesy, but like, just make new friends, have fun, play games.
Absolutely. And draft is one of the easiest ways to get into any
game.
It forces you to think outside the box in regards to things, but it evaluates and allows you to understand cards at an intricate level very quickly.
Right.
And it lets you say, hey, is this a good card or is it not? And it's like, oh, in draft, this is great. I learned that this card just is going to beat my shit in for 8 every other turn.
And it's also something you can get into as a newer player without having a big collection. So you don't have to worry about being outclassed by people with more money because everyone's got the same 3 packs going in.
Exactly. And like you will have some people that like cut their teeth on draft and are so good at draft. Like your Dave's from the DMV. Dave is like a monster when it comes to draft. But it's also like you can come in a draft and be brand new and play against someone of that caliber, learn a ton, and still have a good time. And not feel like you got thrown around.
Right. You can hold your own in those formats.
Absolutely.
Because the power level is relatively lower. And sometimes weird things happen that cause pods to have strange things.
Oh, yeah. There's some pods where I'm like, how the heck did we end up with 5 rune blades at this pod?
So let me go through the way that they went. Because I have one story.
Okay, let's start with WTR.
No, we're not going to.
WTR.
We're going to go backwards. We're going to do it just the way they did because WTR was special.
Oh, you did it all the way back.
So we started with Part the Mistveil. We did not start with Rosetta because it's current. We started with Part the Mistveil. I started out with a couple of strong blue generics, and I was like, okay, I'm going to continue to take the blue generic path until I figure out where I'm at. And about 5 picks in, I've seen really good Enigma cards go by. So I just cherry-picked the best Enigma cards and then stayed on the aggressive 5 generic plan, or blue generic plan.
That's good.
It's good. It was great.
I mean, Enigma feels like that one character within Mistveil, like when people first approached the draft format, that people were not willing to get their hands dirty with as quickly. Yeah. But the thing is, like, if you get her red cards, like Spectrals, like Spectral Manifestation red in all formats is disgusting.
My MVP...
In Limited, it just pushes damage.
My MVP was Single-Minded Determination red.
Single-Minded red is also great.
I kept it alive.
It's so innocuous.
For 3 turns. And my opponent was just like, I'm going to lose the game to 1 Single-Minded Determination red. I was like...
And you were determined to do that.
In that one, though, I went 1 and 2.
Did the overpicking of blue generics?
The overpicking of blue generics bit me because I paired into 2 news, and those were my 2 losses.
Yep.
And, shit happens.
That's always the tough part, like, because there's so many really solid blue cards, but most people really like to go new, it seems. It's either like new or Zen. But I feel like people push new more because there's 2 damage points you can have with your daggers. Hot woman, and I get to use your cool stuff later on.
Yeah.
You can work more with less in that scenario, but I also have a problem in that format of like, there will always be someone aggressively at that pod taking chi.
Yes.
So like your chi ratios are always difficult. Like Enigma, I feel, is the deck that wants the most chi in Limited, followed by new, and then Zen, I've done fine
even without
Zen
it
having 2 tier or 1 tier without it.
But that was a good one. I had a lot of fun, and the games with the news were very close. It was just they happened to get Chi at the right time. And once they do, I mean, if you're on the mini blue generic plan, you just die to it. So not a big deal, and I felt happy for reading Enigma. Next was heavy hitters.
I love heavy
this was great. I went 2-1 in that draft, and I'll just say right up front, I was seated to the right of Josh Lau.
Oh, so you're not getting warrior.
Well, I'm passing to the left.
Oh.
And I started with 3 brute warrior cards, right? I was like, okay, I will stay into brute and warrior. And then I got past a red draw swords, and then another red draw sword, or red, it was another red good Kasai card. And I was like, fuck, I guess I'm Kasai. This is where I'm at. We're 5 picks in. My next one after that was a red attack react. And I was like, all right, we're definitely Kasai. Because those...
Forced Josh into probably Guardian at that point.
I pushed him into Brute because the next pack, so pack 7 or pick 7, there were 5 red Brute cards in it.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, that means
that's some strong power levels still.
Yeah, so I just handed him to that. And I was talking to him after, and he was like, yeah, you picked your seat right, but also you handed me the Brute cards and made that choice my problem. And I was like, okay, good, because I looked at that and I was like, fuck, maybe I should pivot to Brute here. Half of my picks are still Brute/Warrior, so I'm still good. I'm not losing a lot.
Yep.
And he's like, no, making it my problem is much smarter.
Yep. I feel like that's the Casey strategy. It's just like, I am forcing you into Acilio. You do not get a choice on this in Rosetta. You are playing Acilio.
Which is fine by me.
Oh, yeah. He's the most fun for limited in my opinion.
So I cut Josh Lau on Warrior. And I win my first game pretty easily, and then
Did you have any spicy pulls?
No. No. Most of my week, I got Marvel Victor Adult was a pull, but like nothing playable was spicy. It was that way for the entire weekend. I didn't get any Majestics in any of my packs.
Oh, damn.
That sucks. With the exception of like in Welcome to Wraith, there was a Bonehead Barrier that was passed around the table and wheeled. But
the most fun you can have.
Yeah, so I beat my round 1 opponent, and he was very awesome, and then I got paired into Josh, and he beats me. It was a very close game, and I was like, what?
Take you to Pound Town?
Yeah, he did. I was like, if you're going to lose to a warrior, or if you're going to be on warrior and lose to someone, it's going to be the guy that plays as much warrior as he does.
Exactly. It's going to be your Josh Lau's, your...
That's a loss I was happy to take, and he was very sweet. He gave me a lot of advice.
He's such a sweetheart. Every time I've interacted with Josh has been really nice. Like, I met him at Nats because he was hanging out with Andy and a few other people like Clay, and it was just nice chatting with him.
He was a good guy. I ended up in a pod with him a couple times. Fun to talk to. He was very fun to play against. Like, we had a great time. And this is one thing. I'm chatty when I play games anyway, but because it was casual, everyone was chatty, so we were all just cutting up and joking the whole weekend.
Oh, that's the best way to have it. Like, that's something that I really enjoyed back in the day when I played Magic. What we would do for pre-releases is, after I stopped working at the comic book store, because I worked at one for a little bit, after that, when I still went to pre-releases and stuff after I stopped working, we would go to the inn in town, and we would get breakfast. And we would
are you a
get
fucking
D&D
adventurer?
For breakfast.
We would go to
hard cider
or to the inn in town and have cider.
Go to the tavern. Yeah, so I got hard cider before I did Magic pre-releases and got like a little buzzed and just played the fucking best way to play pre-releases for Magic is just be a little buzzed.
Truly, every event should serve a little alcohol, not a lot. Don't be riotous, but
yeah.
It calms the nerves.
Exactly. Be like, your pack one, pick one is right after you get a shot.
Right. Everybody slams it down and then...
Exactly. And it's just like, okay, we're going to have a good time. So you played Josh. Who else? How was your record for heavy hitters?
I was 2-1. So, yeah, he was my loss. See the next...
I mean, it's probably the best person to have a loss to, as you mentioned.
And like, we'll get into it, but the wins and losses for the weekend were not why I was there.
No, you're here to have fun. You're here to enjoy the history of the game and take advantage of the fact that such a cool event's set up and that you got to go in for cheap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. if you're not on it, please get some kind of points card for something that you're doing in your life. Even if you aren't a keep a credit card person, get a points card, pay it off immediately. Just generating that extra value allows me to travel for Fab. I paid $11 to fly to Chicago. Like, just off of normal people bills. Like, you can...
Which is freaking dope.
You can make...
Especially with how pricey things are.
Yeah, you make your money go further. But anyway, so the third one was Rosetta, Heavy Hitters, and then... My brain is not remembering... Or it was Mistveil, Heavy Hitters, and then Bright Lights. Bright Lights is when we got told to tone it down. Because everyone at my table, except for the Tekla Main with the Singularity mat, was like...
Oh my gosh.
Was like, oh, this set is awful. I went to one there.
It's probably just like... Listen, I can get more rainbow foils for my collection of mechanologist cards.
Right, I didn't say anything about it, but I sat down and I was like, I kind of play a lot of Dio. And I drafted Dash Database, and I pulled...
Hells yeah.
2 red overload scripts and a couple booms. It's my database strategy in Bright Lights, and it runs over...
Do the bread and butter.
It runs over decks that aren't prepared for it, unless the cards don't line up. The cards didn't line up for me once, so I went 2-1. Good time.
I like Bright Lights a lot, especially the shuffle up and play aspect of it. I'm hoping they do that with Guardian Mastery.
Yeah, they have. They have said it will be crack shuffle play. So,
woo!
Yep.
But like, I feel like that format is very interesting because Dash is a very solid deck.
Yeah.
Max, I feel like you have to have all of the pieces to be able to like go 3 or 4 wide, and then Tekla Vossen's like, I have the 3.
Right, the 3 block plan.
They're blue. I mean, I've topped the skirmish before just by blocking smart with Tekla Vossen and then just gaining intellect with the headpiece.
It's the lowest variance plan. So, it's a good thing.
I mean, you know how I am as a player.
Let's see. Outsider was next.
I love Outsiders.
So Outsiders was the first set of the second day. I love Outsiders. I decided to play Arachne Solitary Confinement because I love Arachne Solitary Confinement. This one was a 1 and 2 for me, but the 2 losses were nail biters, and both came down to dominated arrows.
My favorite thing about that set is how powerful Benji can be. People just like sleep on all of the like filler mediocre yellow and blue cards, and then it's just like you can have a disgusting Benji that'll just swing for like 8+ every turn.
I really thought
on things that you can't deal with.
I thought genuinely I should have pivoted to Benji. I know I was right being on Arachne, and I was happy being on Arachne, but real close to the end of Pack 1, and then again at the start of Pack 2, I saw Wander with Purpose pass, and I was like, fuck.
What color?
That's the yellow Benji specialization.
I was thinking of the one that when you hit, you name one of the 3 card options, and you...
Oh, yeah.
Pay 1.
There were a couple of those, but when I saw 2 of those, I was like...
2 of those? Fucking
right, I was like, well, whoever gets onto this, good job, Benji.
Gonna have a cracked Benjamin deck.
And then I played him and I beat him, because...
Oh, hells yeah.
Look, attack reacts are too strong in a limited format.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that's very interesting in that format is when you roll into the arrow-based characters, it's like, I would like to deal good damage to you, and then when things start to go not well for me, I will move to fatigue you.
The arrow...
Just because, like, you can't do much after you run out of
Both
things.
of the Azalea players were really good, and they knew their arrow density, and that's why when it came down to a dominated arrow, and they were blind Azaleaing, they knew exactly that there was an arrow there. Like, I wasn't even mad at that. That's just good play on them.
That's just understanding it. Yep.
So I was happy with that. Uprising. So Uprising is where the sets I've never drafted start.
Ooh, okay. Uprising. What was your feel on it?
Well, I had a lot of fun. Okay, and this is the only time I was dead ass wrong about my seat.
Oh no, what did you end up playing?
Okay, so my pack one pick one was red sweeping blow. Okay,
Reasonable.
I know if Dromai ends up being open, I know how to play Dromai. I can do that pretty well.
Yep.
And then my pick two, I get past a pack with 0 Icelander cards missing and a red Ether Ice Vein in it. I was like, okay, I'll grab this and see if Icelander stays open, because red Ether Ice Vein is banging.
Pretty damn solid, yeah. Presenting that much damage in a disruption is very
And then
good.
the next pack, there's 2 blue Icelander cards still, and like red Icequake, I think, or one of the ones that's like a just disruption card. I was like, sick, I'll grab that. And the next pack is another no Icelander cards missing premium red Icelander card. And at this point, I've picked 5 of those in a row, or 4 of them in a row. And I was like, there is no way Icelander is not open at this point, right? Like, I'm like, obviously everyone, like, no one is on her. This is perfect. This is my time. Yep. I'm not even good at Wizard. I'm not even good at Icelander.
We'll make it work.
Yeah, and, you know, it'll be fun. There were 4 Icelanders in the pod. I was dead fucking wrong.
What?
I don't know what they...
How?
I don't know what they picked.
That is so uncommon for that
right.
set. I think usually you get 2 at max.
We had 1 Dromai. And 3 Fi.
1 Dromai? Yes. Holy crap, that Dromai must have been fed.
Yes. Every dragon. Like... So, Wild Pod... I've never felt more wrong.
4 Icelanders.
Yeah. I won the mirror. And I got like narrowly squeaked out by an extremely good Fi player who then gave me like a 10-minute briefing on what to do for Tales of Aria. Yeah, like
oh, hell's yeah.
And when I say narrowly squeaked out, it was like 10-1. So his name was Ryan, and I'd sat next to him a few times and played against him a few times over the course of the weekend. And he was one of my loudest, funniest people there. So, but
those are the best people.
Had a lovely Christmas Briar altar too. So when he was teaching me about Aria, he sat down and he pulled out literally like all 3 heroes, all 3 weapons that are the token weapons. Like he had them on him, and he just starts giving me this quick briefing. And he's like, feel like I gave you too much, and I was like, no, this is good. I'm ready. And I
just auto lock Briar. Don't think. That's how I play that set.
Nah, I went Oldham.
Okay. Did you get enough Earth?
I had enough Earth and enough Ice. I had
good.
5 total Glacial Footsteps.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I was eating good. And this was the first time I went to time all weekend. Because I'm not used to playing that defensive a deck. Holy fuck, Oldham is fun.
He is. It's one of those things that if you get a good number of footsteps, you have the Earth to help with disruption, and you have the Ice for the fuse, you get to just do stupid things that just outpace Briar. But like, if you end up with like a mediocre Briar deck versus a mediocre Oldham deck, I think the Briar's going to win out like 9 times out of 10.
I went 2-1 there. But one went to time and the opponent gave it to me.
Okay, that's cool.
He was good. And I think when I was like, man, I haven't had one of these go to time, I just don't know what I'm doing with this deck. And he was like, I tried to play fast. And I was like, it isn't you. But I feel like you might have walked away thinking I was talking about him playing slow. No, it was me.
Yep.
But
I get that. It's that analysis paralysis sometimes.
I got bodied by Alexi. With dominated arrows with Shiver. A dominated arrow is still a dominated arrow. And like, I turned Timbered 1. And I used my Oldham reacts a lot, and I swung for Hammer, and I did all the value plays, but, you know, you can only block it so much.
Correct. And they can sometimes either go really tall or really wide, and it's just how you play around that as well.
Huge...
I've had so many games where it's so close, and then it's just like, shiver him out.
Got a huge laugh out of my opponent, because his buddies came over after we had finished the game, and they were like, oh yeah, we all just split. And I looked at him and I was like, that was an option? Do you want to split now? And it cracked him up. It was good. And
I think one of the funniest things though is like when you offer a split and someone's like, "Nah, I'm good," and it's just and you steamroll them. It feels so good.
There were 4 games on the weekend where we sat down and we were like, "Hey, do you want to just split and play it out?"
Yeah, those are like the best ways to do it. You both get something, you have fun, and you just chill.
It's another reason why the whole event was so fun is that everybody was pretty chill about it because the tickets you didn't get a lot. It was not a high ticket event. You came in, you got all the promos for the weekend, right? You didn't have to worry about anything. So the tickets were
you got your play mats.
Tickets were kind of an afterthought, and everybody was just having a good time.
Yeah.
So that was the last set, day 2. Day 3, they moved around the set order. It was going to be Monarch, Arcane Rising, Welcome to Wraith. But enough people had to leave early for flights that they made Monarch the last set and did
that makes sense.
They did Arcane Rising, Welcome to Wraith, Monarch.
Because a lot of people did Monarch during Dusk Till Dawn because of how the pre-releases and stuff were set up for
It'll make a little more sense in a second, too. Arcane Rising, look, that set is a shit show. I had a lot of fun.
Did you steal all the null rune?
I wanted to. But no,
it's such a fun strategy. Just fuck you, I'm taking the null rune. You don't get a choice.
I was 5 spots away from the other Azalea. So I was on Azalea. That one I 1 and 2'd. But one of it is because I blind Azalea to turn 0 with 3 pumps on board, wasting them. I'm not thinking about Azalea play sequencing because I don't know how to ranger. Like, my buddy goes, why didn't you just Azalea and then play the pumps after you see if you've gotten an arrow? And I was like, fuck.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's fucking hilarious. My arrow!
Right. So I lost to that guy. The eventual winner of the pod was the guy who had an induction chamber, and that's Arcane Rising. Do you induction chamber? Yes. And I lost to a Kano.
Kano's kind of nutty in that.
It was a really good game and very close, but unpreventable damage is unpreventable damage. So, and then
they just outraced.
We came to Welcome to Wraith, and everybody's a little excited, and there's an energy in the air. And the head judge for this, and I will say right now, first, the judges for the weekend were fucking incredible. I told our local, one of our local level 2s, Andy, who was there assisting with judging, that I will write up on Judge Hub how good the judges were. But I'll say it here right now. The judges for this event were amazing because it was casual, because it was fun. They were wandering between tables and making jokes. They're like, I don't know what to do. I force Runeblade in a set that are in Outsiders. Like, they would just comment on people's picks, but not in a way that gave away any information. Just like, I remember this card. Like...
Well, that's just like the fun banter of things where it's not like I have to micro-analyze everything down to the pure follicles of my pubic hair.
They kept the energy great. So this was perfect judging. But the head judge, he's like, okay, I just want to say before we get started, there's been a problem with our product. We didn't receive the Welcome to Wraith Unlimited. So we'll be drafting Welcome to Wraith Alpha!
Wow!
And it was a 96-person Welcome to Wraith Alpha draft.
That's fucking nuts.
This is unannounced, didn't sign up for it. I did call it, and you can look back in our Discord.
Wow.
Before I signed up.
So you got the draft alpha.
You got the draft alpha.
That's fucking lit.
And the way they did it was great. They, rather than handing you 3 packs, they were like, look, we're not going to give everyone 3 packs, so you can't just get up and walk away with them. We will pass out the packs to each table one at a time. Each box is labeled with your table. So, like, all the pods were kept consistent and straight.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing huge came up at my table, but there were 2 tunics pulled.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
that's impressive.
10 grand floated into the world instantly.
God,
it was so fun. The energy in the room. People were giddy. Were screaming and clapping and hollering. And the draft was so fun. At one point, one of the guys on my pod calls over a judge and he's like, "Am I allowed to just ask the value of the two of these cards?" And the judge goes, "For this, yeah, I'll allow it. Hang on."
That's
and it
funny.
wasn't big cards. It was just like a couple little things. Because, like I said, no one at my table pulled anything super, super fancy.
Sometimes little rainbow foils can go a pretty far distance.
Yeah.
Which is surprising.
I didn't think about that, or I would have grabbed them. But I drafted a playable Rhinar deck because I was there. I was there strictly to play the draft. If I had seen anything good, I would have taken it. But
did you get any pink brutes?
I got a full play set of Pack Hunt. So good playable Rhinar card.
Absolutely.
And I got one pink
hunt.
One pink pummel.
That's kind of
It is kind of hot. I'm not mad at it. Like, I came away with it. It was fun. I had a lot of fun in that set too. I played a Brute Mirror.
It sounds like a wonderful weekend overall.
My last game, we split and then played it out. I played against a guy who drafted Dory. And
it's the racing matchup.
It was classic battles, and we did it, and it was fun. And he beat me, but he was like,
Did he shunt you?
I died to a shunt.
Yep, that's usually how it goes. Steel blade shunt for lethal.
Because we were low enough that I could only present weapon. But yeah, he's like, yeah, I play a lot of Dory for the last 2 years. And I was like, it's funny because I've played a lot of Rhinar, and he's like, he's like, it really was a good game.
Classic battles, LSS.
It was. So thank you to LSS and thank you to Minmax. The weekend was amazing. I got to meet several of our Rainbow Foil friends, and it was lovely talking to each and every one of them, and I wish we had gotten more time to hang out. Thank Nathan again for offering me his house, and Chris and Keith for being good company and driving with us. Keith told me he wanted me to narrate his life. I was like, yeah, this is something I can do.
That's pretty dope.
But
So I think there's a lot of fun things that do happen.
Yeah.
Events, and I think it is one of the blessings of this game.
It's what I wanted to talk to you about. Is because like I said, my whole weekend goal was to get better at draft. And it was to read my seat correctly instead of just forcing, even though forcing is sometimes the right option.
Sometimes forcing is just fucking fun.
Sometimes 5 people forcing a Cilio is fun. You're welcome, Julian.
Yep. Cleaned fucking shop.
What do you do in Fab to get enjoyment from the game that is not just winning and losing? How do you flesh and blood? Because I think people coming in from other hobbies may focus a little too much on the results and not as much on the process. So tell me about you.
So I think it's one of those games that just has this unique environment and this unique vibe that's much more at ease than other games, like even from like a competitive sense. Like when I go to these competitive events, I'm excited just to see people. Like if I go to like a big event like a calling or like a battle hardened, or like if I'm going just to a skirmish or even just to my local armories, it's just good catching up with folks, hanging out, and sometimes it's just getting a meal afterwards. I know for the last few times we've been at skirmishes and stuff, it's like a bunch of people will play in it. You have it cut to top 8. A bunch of people get food next door, and then eventually you'll find out the results through the slow but inevitable walk of shame to said restaurant. It's happened to me before. It'll happen to me again. But it's nice because like people are like, oh, Jenna came through the door. So it's like, it is that camaraderie that I really like. And it's like being able to enjoy that as well. And just the people. The people are the big part. Like for me, like even just on an armory, it's like, hey, do you want to go out and get burgers afterwards? Hey, do you want to go and get dumplings afterwards? Like, is it good for my stomach? Is it good for my body? Is it good for my wallet? Fuck no. But I'm having a great time. I'm enjoying the company there. And it's some of the more well and beneficial, like, lasting relationships that I've gotten out of card games. Like, I have a lot of friends from Magic that I still keep up with and that I love and adore deeply. But there's just a vibe about Fab. It's this game that has... I feel like it is a game that wears itself on its sleeve. It's very much this ideology of we're going to have good games.
Yeah,
It's
Say it a
not
lot.
just about win or lose.
The communication through gaming, like the shared language of gaming, it's important. But what if you're new in your scene, right? Like, what if you're a new player? Even though I'm talking like we're a big podcast and lots of people listen to us, and it's not just our locals. What if you're a new player and you're not
Yeah,
socially locked in with all these people that are going out and having dinner yet?
I get it. I'm autistic. So sometimes it's just finding that gap and bridging it. It could be just showing up to an event and someone's like, "Oh my gosh, you're playing Bolton? That's fucking awesome. I love Bolton." And then you have a conversation there. We've gotten some new folks at my locals that have been really chill, like a friend of a friend type of scenario. Someone coming over from Yu-Gi-Oh, someone coming over from Pokemon. And it's just like, I think a lot of times it's just like a welcoming smile and like a friendly face being like, "Hey, what's up? Who are you? Like, what's your life story? How are you doing?" Kind of goes a long distance. I remember when I was at Nationals, I was just chilling, just sitting at a table, and some folks came up to me and they're like, "Hey, are you part of the foils?" And I was like, what is that?" And then from just chatting with them, I got to meet like 10 different people just because I was chilling, opening a Japanese box. And someone's like, "Oh, you get anything cool?" It's just that friendly connectivity that's there within the community. Whereas, like in other games, I feel like it's like, I am this alpha player that's like better than everyone else. And I'm like, "I'm a beta bitch. Fuck off, baby."
This is definitely if you're a fab player, your responsibility. If you're a fab player and an extrovert, your responsibility is to adopt your newbie introverts. And if you're a fab player and you're an introvert, your responsibility is to identify them and push them onto the talkers.
Correct. And if you're autistic, you're probably doing both.
So how do you feel about the Velma redesign?
Like, are we talking about the Mindy crawling version?
No, we're not. We're not
Whatever.
actually doing it. It was just a Scooby Doo.
Oh, okay.
Scooby
I'm
Doo
ready to
Jenna.
lock in. Listen, Bill, if you really are such a big fan of trains, then if you ever get into the adult industry, that's the whole genre that you're going to have to do is just trains.
Well, I am a big fan.
Choo choo. But I think it's the goofiness that we like that people like us have. It's just like the fucking around and having a good time. Like at like big events, I love just going and chilling with people afterwards. Like you have a good time, like your brain's like stressed out about stuff, like you've locked in, you've used so much mental acuity for like 5 hours, 10 hours, and then you're just like, "I'm gonna joke about anime titties for 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna drink way too much IPA
It's
and eat a shitty steak."
truly the best things in life. And so one thing I've noticed a lot of people doing lately is bringing something from where they are. So like History of Drafting Calling Chicago is obviously in Chicago. And all the
Chicago.
Chicagoland players had special tokens to hand out. And I love that so
That's
much.
cool. Were they deep dish pizza shapes?
So there was pizza.
Okay, that's fucking cool.
There was the embodiment of lightning was the Sears Tower getting hit with lightning, and the embodiment of
That is also pretty fucking badass.
the embodiment of Earth was the Chicago bean, like the reflective bean sculpture.
Okay, that I like. Because, like, Team Poland does stuff like that as well, which is really cool. Team Poland does a lot of tokens. Like, people apparently were, like, handing out, like, unique tokens in Japan. I do really like that, like, hey, we're just chilling. What's cool? Like, I've had new players at the shop that are like, "I'm trying to get cards for this," and I just go in my binder and I'm like, "These are all, like, under $1 each. Take them. Enjoy them. Please give them a loving home. I will not play this. I don't play Warrior."
Right. I mean, I do collect everything, but then also the result of my unpacking all that product was I was like, "Charlie, I know you said you didn't get to buy any Rosetta, so I hope you want 1,600 cards."
Well, it's also one of the cool things that I've noticed in this game. Like, I've seen people show up to events, and like in most games, it's like, "Oh, you don't have your cards. Like, you're not gonna be playing an optimal deck." Someone might be like, "Oh, you playing this? Do you have a tunic for tonight? I have a second one that you can borrow for tonight." Like, or I'm playing a class that's not using tunic. Do you need to borrow this for tonight? I've never had a community like that
Right.
before.
It's amazing. And I think that's what I wanted to loop back to, from what we missed from the Thanksgiving episode, and this, I don't want to make this our last episode for the year because I want to come back next week and talk about.
The
I just want
Hunted.
to talk about hot spiders, and you can talk about Crunchyroll waifus if you want, but I
That's
am
fine.
bricked for arachnes, and that's not the start of things I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for you, and I am thankful
Same.
for our friendship, but also all of the other friendships that you've exposed me to. I'm thankful for Fab. I am thankful for LSS. Thankful to my partner and child who support me when I get to go play. They let me go run off and be a giant man child. And there's a million things that I'm not going to remember to be thankful for. But if you're watching and I have talked to you or played with you at a game and you don't explicitly know that I think you're an asshole, I am glad I have touched your life. And if you do explicitly know that I think you're an asshole, I am glad that you have taught me how I don't want to be.
I get that. There's definitely a lot of things to be thankful for with this game and the community. I'm really thankful for the community that we have here locally in the DMV, the overall community in the world, and then a lot of the rainbow foils. Just very thankful for those people and those connections and those relationships because like you can only get out so much of a game on your
Right.
own. You need a community, and a community is what allows you to grow and what allows you to enjoy things. And like there'll be a lot of clowning on different things and a lot of, oh, this class is this, or oh, this sucks, or oh, there's this. But it's at the end of the day, it's like it still comes from a place of loving the integrity of the game, loving the people behind it, and just wanting to have a good
Right.
time.
But it's
Like
games are at their core a pretense for two things: exercising mastery.
in gay sex.
Games are a pretense for three things: exercising mastery,
Okay, perfect.
gay sex, and social connection. Right?
You're welcome.
Well,
I've got to make sure that people know that games are the ways to get the gays. There's a very dense gay population when it comes to gaming.
you can't say gamer without gay.
True. You can't say Bill without bi.
I should call Allison and thank her for that again.
It's such a good
Right.
phrase. It's so good. And I think that there's going to be a lot of good stuff down the line for 2025.
There is.
I'm not going to Prague.
Same.
I don't have that kind of money to do Prague, but I will more than likely be trying to go to GP Kobe just because I want to go back to Japan next year. Hopefully, if bonuses are good, I'll be at a monetary situation where I'm comfortable doing that.
I hope you can go.
And
I won't be able to go with you, but now that I know that Marvel Rampart of the Ram's Head is a thing, I'm going to send you with a pile of cash to get a bad one and then trade it for a good one.
I might be doing the same thing
Right?
as well.
Just buy packs until you get the misprint.
Or I'll just be like, hey, Connor, can you buy this for me?
That's fair.
I'll meet you there in 15 weeks. But I think that's going to be a fun event. It's going to be nice, like, getting to meet a lot of people from the APAC region. I've met a few because of, like, big callings. But, like, our friend Connor is very connected with, like, the APAC region, like, Team Blue Pitch and a bunch of other people. And just looking forward to meeting his friends and stuff like that. And then I'm also looking forward to seeing where Worlds is, where next Pro Tour is, where all that type of stuff is. More stuff on the East Coast would be amazing. I know it helps folks from Europe a lot. It helps folks like us a lot because Lord knows I love card games. I love the people, but I also like having money in my wallet.
Right. There's only so much I can travel, and hitting Japan twice this year.
That's rough.
It made it so I needed an $11 flight to do Chicago.
I get that.
But the only thing on my books that I know of for next year so far that's fully confirmed is Memphis. I'm going to Memphis. I'm rooming with Casey. And I'm saying it here now. I'm locked in on Acilio for Memphis. We're not messing with anything else. I was talking to Casey about, trying to find the nexus in things I enjoy and things that are meta capable. And
when is Memphis?
Last week of January.
Excellent. So that's like, is that the same weekend that...
It's the same weekend Hunted releases.
Wow.
There will be a double calling. Friday is CC calling. Saturday is sealed hunted calling.
Oh, that's wild.
It's going to be insane.
Do they have the cool like promo packs?
They
there?
do, and the mat for it is hot Runeblade chick, Dowson Runeblood.
Fuck!
Yep. You coming to Memphis?
My wallet.
Come on down.
I'm not going to Memphis, but I might need people to mule for me.
I'll bring you the mat home. Don't worry.
Yeah. Lesbians.
But like, so
women.
Right. I need you to sell me extra of this mat because the lesbians in my phone want it. Is still the funniest thing.
Oh my gosh. Have you talked about that on here yet?
No. So a couple of...
I still think it's so funny.
At the Tampa calling, a couple of friends wanted the snuff out mat. And the snuff out mat, which is beautiful, right? They were one each at the con. And I felt bad because I told a couple people I would get it for them. And I really should have said I'll try. But, lesson learned. So I went up to...
It's also just you having a big...
Yeah, well, I like helping people. So I went up there and I asked for it, and they were like, it's one per. And I said, I'm sorry. The feral lesbians in my phone require the mat. And the woman looked at me and then looked at the mat, and she's like, yeah, I got you.
When I heard about that, I was like, yeah, that does sound like the people Bill and I run with.
They laughed, but they were so chill and understanding about that fact too, because Snuff Out is a hot mat.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's like core aesthetic gay.
Yep.
I think the way people put it for me was like, there are 3 factions of people that like the mat. Very queer women, Runeblade players, and kind of creepy guys.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, baby.
Yeah. Lesbians. Runeblade. So I've slowly parsed off a lot of my Runeblade stuff, which is kind of nice.
You're not runeblading anymore?
Just the class. No, like, fundamentally the design philosophy behind the class just has slowly not aligned with what I want out of the game, because I play for, like, as consistent as I can, and classes that get, like, specific types of hands that completely screw them over and they lose all their tempo with it is very hard for me to sign on board.
Okay. So let's make a deal right now. I want to revisit consistency next week when we talk about the hunted.
And the mommies of the hunted.
Yes, because I have feelings about consistency. And they're...
Oh, yeah, we've talked about consistency a bit,
right,
Bill.
And they're aroused.
There is no consistency on this train going forward.
None at all. I don't know what consistency is.
I mean, it's chaos. You get your spur locked. You get your hot whammon. Your scary men. Your hot men.
I want to know what Tarantula does so bad. I hope that it isn't spoiled by the time this goes up. Because my commitment is Wednesday.
My guess is with the Tarantula thing, it's gonna like rely on like getting through defense reaction stuff, because like tarantula spiders and stuff like that looks like it's got all these webs around it. Maybe it's like catching traps, like catching...
Well, I think the Tarantula Toxin is the card that gives a stealth dagger.
Yeah, so it's... I had a very interesting conversation with Trevor and a few other people on this card. The way that the card is like set up and the way that it checks is very interesting in regards to the dagger and the stealth conditions, because of how it says one or both. But it's like a dagger +3. It's like, is there a way to reuse the dagger? Like, because it's a majestic and there's nothing that really lines up with it right now, unless we get like a new stealth dagger that is
chaos
like,
locked.
Always going to be like a chaos one that you have like, okay, I'm going to play this in Scale Peeler, or I'm going to play this and
the bite,
or I'm going to play this and a gun. I think that's my solution for everything. Just give every hero a fucking
I would like that. I think if anyone deserves a gun, it's Assassin.
Oh yeah. Also, the art looks like metal as fuck. Like, I feel like the way that the chaos people look like is like what the high techno elves would look like if you did DMT
Jesus
while
Christ.
listening to Slayer.
They Arachne Marionette looks like the door that Ed and Al's mom goes into in Full Metal Alchemist.
That is a good way to put it. I also think of the eyes. If anyone plays Fate Grand Order, the eyes very much look like the eyes that Koyanskaya has. So, never know. Could be getting more weird eye things.
I like weird eye things. I'm a big sucker for it.
Weird eyes are fun.
But
I hear the kitties scurrying around.
Well, I'm gonna go get some stuff done. Thank you for meeting up so soon after me getting home so that we could actually record.
Thank you.
We'll get this uploaded.
For meeting up so we could do some stuff. And we will see you when we talk about the Hunted next, the expansion slots, and why I'm going to be wasting money once again on this card.
Right. Well, we'll even do a full review, but it'll only be the vibes of the card and no mechanical.
Correct. It doesn't pass the vibe check, and it's only the cards we want to talk about.
Yep. All right. Hunted spoiler vibe check. That's the next episode. Can it?
Perfect. We'll see you on the other side,
thanks
folks.
for joining us.
Don't get stuck at the bottom tables.
Bye.